Hey, what's up everybody? Jagermiester here, coming to you with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about twinking and what twinking is, and why you'd be interested in it. So, my twink here, if I put on my gear, has item level 87 gear. I have a lot of items that I originally had from when they did the level crunch in Dragonflight. And then I have some new items that aren't that high level. You might ask yourself, well, why do you have some of these items? What is this? Long story short, some people are free to play and they don't want to necessarily pay for the game, right? And for most of you that already know this, level 20 is the essentially free to play cap, right? So if you're looking at the game and you're interested in playing free to play, or you just want a new style of play, twinking is the way to go. So first off, you need to pick a race and a class that you want to play. Horde tends to be the more PvP dominant. Alliance is more the utility. So when getting into picking all that, that's something I'm going to let you guys decide on what you want to do. But ultimately, what do you do once you get through to level 10, through the starting zone, if that's what you're doing? For your older players that have been around, that have a level capped character, you can choose to go to Duertor or to the Shire or one of the other starting areas for Alliance, and you know, do it the old-fashioned way. So what you need to do once you've got to the level that you want to be at, and you started right here, you came in, you did your little walkthrough, you went and talked to the king, you went and set up your portals. And I highly suggest you do that. You go set up your portals in Borealis. Once you've done that, you'll come out of the mage tower over here through the portals. Okay? And now let's get going, right? So you're going to want to get to level 20. And then you're going to want to go over to the secret NPC, which is over by where you went to talk to the king, right? So we'll head over there and we'll show you this NPC guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there's one for the Alliance and there's one for the Horde. Wowhead will give you the locations for the one in the Horde. But for the Alliance guy, he's inside this building right here. This is the King's Castle, and we're gonna put my speed set on just to make this a little easier. I also have a speed set. We'll be going over how to get that. It's essentially the same. So this gentleman right here, Beston, and you talk to him and he'll say either I want to not earn experience anymore, or I want to start earning experience again. And you can toggle this on and off. It costs 10 gold. You'll see your experience bar pop back up. And you're like, oh, I don't want to learn experience anymore. Alright, well, it's another 10 gold. Flip that off, right? And you can toggle that on and off as much as you want. If for some reason you do activate your account, you're going to want to know that that guy's there, and you're going to want to turn your experience off, so that way you don't level to 21 and beyond with this character, right? So it's a big tip that a lot of people don't know. They're starting out, they don't know about that NPC there, because I mean, he's practically invisible and he's out of the way. I mean, how many people go to the castle, you know, other than maybe a quest chain that sends you there? You're just not going to go there. And so that's that. So then, moving on. Next, you're going to want to talk to Chroma. Now, keep in mind, you're going to want to have a level cap character. I'm not saying that level cap characters are bad, but in order to... I don't know exactly the circumstances behind Chromie time. If a new player can just come in and hit Chromie time, that's something you can leave in the comments. Let me know. I think you have to have a level cap character to use Chromie time, or at least gone through BFA content. So that's something to keep in mind. But once you've done all that, you've played your main character, you've leveled up to 60 or 70 or whatever the cap is at the time, and you're making your Twink for your free to play experience, or you're just a free to play player. Come to Chromie, and then you have the option to we'll set it up to where it's now I'm in BFA content, right? And say I want to select a timeline, right? You have Cataclysm, which is essentially vanilla. You have Outlands. You have the Fall of the Lich King, that's Northern. Pandaria for the pandas. This is essentially Outlands as well, but it's Draenor. It's before the crazy stuff of the Outlands, but it's after the actual expansion. This expansion is really weird. It's essentially like this weird time loop. But this is the one you're going to want to pick, believe it or not. This is the one you're going to pick. We also have Legion Invasion if you want to go get your artifact weapon. The reality is there's really no point in getting that other than maybe for transmog. And then you have the Shadowlands. This one's really good for trinkets. A lot of the trinkets in Shadowlands are kind of broken and kind of like they don't work the way they say they do exactly. Some of them, and so you can kind of find some loopholes and trinkets. Essentially, that's why my character has, when I have my gear on, I have 2 Shadowlands trinkets. I have Wither Grove, and then I also have this Charged Winds, and I'm playing around with the trinkets to see how they go. I also got this really cool ring from there, which if I fall below 20% health, it essentially puts all the enemies around me to sleep. I have yet to see this proc and actually work, but hey, if it does, cool. I would suggest you go get this ring as well from Draenor, but they took it out of the game, which I think is BS. I don't like it when they take items out of the game. I think that's a cop-out by Blizzard. To essentially say, well, this item's too good. Well, put a level requirement on it, put a level restriction on it, but don't take it out of the game. You know, do something to where, you know, people can still get it, but it's still in the game. So this was one of my secrets that unfortunately is now null and void. I have characters that I can't get this on anymore. I thought I had it, and I didn't on my level 19 Twink. Turns out, nope. And so, don't stress about it. The rings that you're going to be wearing are so much more powerful than this one. In general scheme, the only thing is they're gonna disappear on you, but they lose 10% of their health. So, not to get too wound up on gear just yet, but just something to think about. You want to go to Shadowlands for some trinkets, some really unique trinkets. There's ways that we'll talk about in the future about how to get those trinkets. But for right now, we're just going to go over the general idea of like what you need to do, right? So we've gone to BFA content, Battle for Azeroth content. Maybe we've leveled a character through there. Now we're ready to free to play. We got our level 20. We've come to Chromie time. We've turned our experience off. We're going to go to Iron Horde, and we're going to select that time frame. Okay. Now down here in the bottom, you're going to have your Dungeon Finder. Oops, wrong one. I don't know why these are both circles. We're going to have our Dungeon Finder, and we're going to have Warlords of Draenor. Now at level 20 you're only allowed to do 3 dungeons in Dungeon Finder, but you're not limited to those 3 dungeons. There's one more, and if we go to our map and we go back out and we go out to Draenor and we go to Talador, Archidon is actually a dungeon that you can go in. As you see, this stuff is not limited to me. Now, this is more of like something fun to do to kind of break up the monotony, because you're going to get so tired of running that other dungeon. There's a trinket in here, it has crit rating on it. Let's look at gear for everybody. Another little trick: when you're in a dungeon and you want to see what's in that dungeon, it's going to automatically put you on the spec that you're on. But if you go here and go all classes, all of a sudden now you see, oh, there's a 2-handed mace, there's a 2-handed staff, 1-handed sword. Wow, there's a lot more going on in this dungeon than I thought. For example, if I hit my bag here and I look over here, look at that. This item can warforge into this item, and I got this by just changing my spec and running the dungeon as marksman or beast mastery to get this item to drop for me. Another thing you can do is bring a friend or bring an alt account. If you're at the point where you can solo these things, which will happen, you'll eventually get to the point where you can bring an alt character or bring a friend, and you need them to be the same level you are, and when the gear drops for them, they can trade it to you. Okay, so let's look down and see if there's any trinkets. Alright, so we got 3 trinkets now. We've got this agility crit rating, we got just a straight crit and versatility trinket, and we got a strength and mastery trinket. Not the best trinkets, they're actually pretty trash. There's a lot better out there. As you see, with just my trinkets alone, I've got an 8 and a 9 agility. One of them gives me a proc. Actually, they both give me procs, and they do shadow damage or arcane damage, and then they also have either limitations or restrictions, or they don't. Excuse me. So for example, my Decatur of Anima, it does my melee attacks have a chance to do 118 arcane damage split between enemies in a 10-yard cone. There's the keyword cone in front of me. The cone's pretty wide, so don't trip about that, but it used to be really narrow, especially back in with mages in their cone of cold. But it's widened out pretty far nowadays. Damage is increased for each enemy struck, up to 5. So you're fighting 5 people. You hit in this procs, it does damage to all of them, and it multiplies for each one struck. So it does more damage. So this one isn't really something too much to worry about, just something to think about. You're going to want to get these trinkets, but you're also going to want to get, oops, what am I doing? You're also going to want to get, let me get into the right thing, there we go. You're also going to want to get this gear. So this is something that a friend can help you out with, or you can do yourself. And these items in this dungeon, as you see, I have this weapon right here. They have a chance to what they call Warforge. Warforge means that it'll proc. So there's a little tip for you. I'm going to cut the video off here, but I want you guys to know that I'll be coming out with more videos talking about more stuff about twinking. I really appreciate your time, and y'all have a blessed day. Alright, Jagermiester out.